Welcome to another episode of Cocktails with Cousins. I'm Erica.
I'm Jay.
I'm KD.
And we are here to talk about Married at First Sight. We're on episode 10. I guess we're about halfway through the season, or at least almost. Before we get started, go ahead and hit the like button because we know that you're going to like what you hear. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss anything, and then share our content with other people. Let's jump right on into this thing. Let's talk about Noi and Steve. So look, Noi and Steve, they seem to be solid. They seem to be able to work through all of their like little quirks and things like that or whatever. But Steve loved to talk about how he not gonna work. Like, I feel like in every episode he dropped that bomb, like, but I'm not getting a job. So as we know, Dr. Viviana came to them talking about intimacy and all that. And so she asked the question like, what would it take for you to fully trust like Steve? And Noah was like, well, you know, this job situation is a thing. And Steve was like, but I'm not working. Like, he said those words, but in so many words, he said, but I'm not working.
But Noe said she didn't envision her marriage with her husband not working.
That's what I was gonna say. Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
I think
that's the whole thing. I think that's the whole thing with her is that she had an ideal and now she's trying to put it in that box. But I think what she should focus on is that as long as the bills are taken care of, you know, I wouldn't worry about it. If I'm taken care of, that's what matters versus how I'm taken care of or how I feel I should be taken care of. So I think she needs to open up a little bit more. I like their little relationship because he was able to tell her like, hey, you hurt me when you left. I think that opened up something. And on this last episode, they kept revisiting that as well. And I think they're growing as a couple. And I really still think they're going to make it.
Yeah, but this is my thing with Steve in the job. I get it. He can work. He has a flexible schedule. Fine. But like this episode, he kind of defined more of what he felt like he should be doing. And he was talking about like how he cooks and cleans and all that stuff. But it didn't include when he was actually going to do some work and make some money. And I feel like every time they have this conversation, he only talks about it to a certain point and then we're not talking about it. Like, I feel like they need to completely hash out the conversation. He needs to explain to her what it's going to look like other than, well, it ain't been no problem right now, has it? It might not be a problem right now because your savings might be fat right now. But if you continue not to work, your savings might not be fat and you might start to not have money. I just feel like they need to have that conversation completely and so she can know what it looks like. So she can get out of her head about it having to fit into her box or whatever, but it gotta at least he gotta at least touch the size of the box and kind of explain to her like
I just think he doesn't want to work. And then I forgot he mentioned that about I'm a cook and clean and almost like he was saying, let me be the house. I want to be a house husband and let you be the provider. And she said, and her friend said it too, the previous episode, that's not what she's signing up for, to be the breadwinner or the provider. And I mean, if that's not what she wants, I mean, I don't know if she's open to you cleaning and cooking. Cause you're right. I forgot he didn't even mention I'm going to, continue to freelance. He didn't say any of those things. He started mentioning house chores.
He did.
And that was interesting.
And he was like, well, you don't even clean right now. How about you start doing 50% of it? And I'm like, hold on, bro. You already ain't working, but you expect her to work and get off her Zoom calls and jump in the kitchen too. Y'all already had Noodlegate. Like, we don't need no more of that.
And then it seemed like he had an attitude too when he was saying that, like he was annoyed or whatever. I was like, dang, okay.
But maybe they have had these conversations off camera. And he doesn't understand why she keeps bringing them up on camera.
I wish he would have it on camera though. Like, because us as an audience, we need to know too, because I'm pretty sure we're not the only podcast talking about
it. Has questions about that.
It's incomplete. Yeah, it's incomplete. And I don't understand why he can't just explain it fully online. Like, just on camera, go ahead and give it all out, because if they end up not making it, it's going to be because of this work situation. Other than that, they're solid. Like, I mean,
and fact that she keeps continuously bringing it up, which means that's an issue. So if you really want the marriage to work, you owe it to her to sit down and explain to her how you're going to contribute to the family in a significant manner financially. And I think that that's not unreasonable of her to ask of him. That's just one-on-one kind of basic marriage conversations that you have. So.
Exactly. Where's Jose at? We need Jose's whiteboard from Houston where he has it all laid out. We need to put this work plan up there on the board or whatever.
He need to make a special appearance. He could do a special appearance or something.
Exactly. But other than that, I think that we are good to go with them. What do y'all think?
Yeah. I think they got to work out the finances part. They need to have a deep conversation about how it's going to look after, if they decide to move forward, because, after this, they might not. But if they decide to move forward, they definitely have to have a conversation about finances. Other than that, I think they will make it. I like how they're handling. Well, she has to stop shutting down and it seems that she understands like what happened and is going to work on it. So they might be, it's fixable, but we'll see how that goes, because shutting down like that will be problematic as well with the marriage. So
yeah, it's like that lack of communication sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
He has,
yep.
But I mean, they're solid. I think they can keep working on it, but I'm gonna need Steve to give up some details about this work,
about his job plan, career.
This not working for me, and I'm not even married to you, bro.
We need to know his career path for sure. America would like to know your career path.
I would like to know. I need to know your financial plan. Anywho, moving right along, let's talk about Lindsay and Mark the Shark. What in the world is going on with them this week?
Lindsay is, I don't like her tone. I think the way she talks, and she's very harsh, and he's very, very gentle with his tone. And then when she started talking about their intimacy, I think that the therapist picked it up like, hey, I don't want to keep shaking my head at this every time, because she was telling her like the way you're saying it. Then I feel like she spread it. When she was on that call, I don't know if it was a Zoom call, FaceTime, whatever it was, with her friends. I think that if it's something that is bothering her, that's a conversation that she should have with her husband, not with other people. Or, that the therapist was good as well. But I think the way she talks to him is going to be a continuous issue. And I think he's getting fed up with it.
Getting fed up with it. He has been fed up with it. But
right.
He gave her some good advice. Her friend told her to chill out.
She did. She sure did. That's a good friend. That's a good friend.
But one thing I kind of agree with is that Lindsay said, in order for her to have a good attitude, she needs to have an orgasm. And I feel it.
I agree. It's almost like
she has had a bad attitude since they stopped having sex.
That's true. But I mean, everybody would agree that it is something almost like a mood stabilizer. It will calm you out, or it will, motivate you, get you through your day. The thing is, all the side effects of having an orgasm are positive. So it could contribute to her bad attitude. And you're right, ever since the honeymoon, she said she didn't have sex for 2 weeks. That would make a whole lot of sense of why she was having a fit at the bowling alley and the restroom. And then this episode, she's just on edge. But the good thing is, we'll see if they have sex in the next couple of episodes, and we all made aware of it, and her tone changes, then that's exactly what it is. That's definitely a contributing factor. She needs her back.
Well, on the after show, she said that she had been having some orgasms after that episode. So we should
let's watch her behavior moving forward. Let's see.
Right. And so I don't know if she said this on the after show or if this was on the episode. Like when she was talking about he ripped off her clothes, and then she thought that they were gonna be hot and heavy, and he just wanted a quickie. So
she said that to her friend, I believe, on the episode.
That was her friend.
Oh, okay.
That was her friend. Yeah. But it was weird because it seemed like it was a buildup. Like if somebody's ripping your clothes, you think it's about to be, long.
Yeah.
position. But the way she described it, again, we can only go on what she told us. It was more like boom, 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 have a great day. And then she got nothing from it because she was like, I had to bring my vibrator out afterwards, which is insinuating that you didn't even get anything from that interaction with him.
Yeah.
So
That conversation that she had with her friend was cringy.
Yes.
because of the level of detail, and then the way her tone is when she's referencing things. And then she said he in the bathroom, she said he's a pathetic motherfucker or something. I'm like, I was like, come on.
With small balls and no income, honey, you gotta say the whole
Yeah, and then she said that, and you sell equipment memberships or whatever for 60,000. I'm like, yo, what are you saying? All this, boy. That's when you're drawing a line. You know this is going to be something that is aired, and you're going down the list of private, hitting below the belt, where the whole world knows now. I mean, and then I feel like when he finds out, that their marriage isn't going to work. And hopefully he finds out before decision day. If I would want him to, because I would hate for him afterwards. Now you're stuck in this marriage and this girl has said all these horrible things about you in the bathroom, because that was too much.
Well, I saw somewhere, I don't know if it was Twitter or Instagram, somewhere in the social universe, that he has been in the DMs of the castmates, that he was in the DMs with Alyssa. I don't know if it's true, but I saw it somewhere.
He said Lindsay said that on the after show.
Oh, she did? I was like, I heard it somewhere, but I thought I saw Twitter or something.
But
I would love to see him explain it, because the way she explained it, that sounds about half true.
I was gonna say you gotta take it with a grain of salt, because she don't tell the whole
right.
Yeah.
Saw how she described their marriage and how she was trying, and I'm like, he didn't put an effort in. And then the flashbacks is so funny when they go, but they were like 7 days ago, and he was like, I really want to put in, and I'm like, I think she wasn't pleased with what she saw with that, but we don't even have to visit that because they're off of the show. But I do hope he gets another match, and it's or maybe next season or something.
Well, she said that she said she likes to be wooed and that he is wooing her. And he said, if you chill out, I could woo you. Like
facts, though. I can understand that, because I don't know. And I was like, maybe it's a up north thing, or she has that Italian, New Jersey, Boston type attitude, but she has no chill button. Sometimes you just have to chill just a little bit.
Yeah, she doesn't own chill. I did think that her little Nerf gun activity was cute and a way to kind of chill out. And then that basket that was a whole interesting scene when Dr. Viviana sent them that basket with the and all that stuff. Maybe after that, sex was on the table and she was all good.
Hopefully, and then that behavior, like I said, we'll see next episode. If that behavior changes, I'm gonna go with KD. I'm like, she just needed some.
Yeah, well, other than that, I think they're good. Let's move.
They're not gonna make it though.
We'll see. Look, I mean, if he gets whiff of that conversation in the bathroom before it's decision day, it's done.
But he's already overwhelmed, and unless she does a 360. He's not gonna go and sign up for that forever.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I think that they have the potential to be a good couple together.
She needs to chill out.
But yeah, she's gonna have to chill. Moving right along, let's talk about somebody else.
Yeah, and she said on the after show, once again that his life was out of control before he how
did I forget
he met her.
Yeah. But what was so out of control about it? I'm so confused. The only thing that she keep references is the issue with the apartment where you have bed about some kind of buzz, whatever. And I'm just like, okay, that was something that just happened to happen on the show that he had to deal with. But it seemed like everything else was in order. So I was kind of confused what she came and fixed so many things. I'm like, well, what did you fix? It's like, I don't think that he was a train wreck. So I could see if he was unemployed, didn't have a car, didn't this, things of that nature. But he seemed to have everything together. He just had an incident that happened to have occurred during the time of the show that he had no control over. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, and she said, and that's what she said. She said to Kevin on Stage, who was a special guest on the After Show. He's another podcast that does reviews of the show. But she was like, well, while his life is in a mess, I would never leave him hanging high and dry. And I'm like, girl, like you.
But again, that's a lot too, because
Yeah. For whatever reason, she thinks that his life is a mess. I guess because some unexpected things happen, but I mean, that's life.
But what was the unexpected things other than that one? What was the unexpected thing? Sorry, my phone disappeared.
It's okay.
What was the unexpected things other than that incident with the apartment?
So it was that apartment. So it was the bed bugs. I think the landlord went up on the rent while they were away. She kept calling them on the honeymoon about everything that was going on. But
Well, I think all that's still related.
It's all centered around one thing or whatever. But I guess for her, that's a mess. I don't know. I've had so many. If that's the case, then my life is a mess. Because
yes, everybody. I don't know. That was weird. That was so weird. But anyway, I think maybe the other thing is I do think that she's a nice person. I do think that.
Mhm.
But
like Alyssa,
I could see why she went on this show, because you had to commit to her and then figure this stuff out. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but because think about it, if you were to meet her, go on a date with her, first day you go, oh, never mind. I will ghost her. I will ghost her. So
she could be ghosted.
I could see how I see why this process might be beneficial for her.
Yeah,
because
she's screwing it up.
Yeah, she is, and she should take advantage of it and use this time to really show who she is and how she would be a great wife. Because she can actually have time to do that. But and then she keeps saying, "You're self-sabotage." I'm like, him or you? Because I was confused. Like,
yeah, see, that's her problem. She can't take advantage of the situation because I don't know if you guys have noticed this. When things get hot and people are saying factual things about what she's doing, she shuts down, and that's when she kind of like definitely zones in and starts kind of throwing low blows or whatever. So yeah. She has to work on that maturity piece for her to even be able to get something out of it. It's kind of like Alyssa. Like Alyssa is not going to realize that she messed up the whole situation because she's too busy in her own head thinking about how she was so wrong because she didn't get what she wanted. So I think if they don't work out, it's going to take Lindsay a while to realize like, oh, I could have had a husband, but that up. She's not going to think that she messed up. She's going to say that his life messed it up.
Well, I was really happy to see at the previous episode, he stood up and was told her at the boat, and I was like, look, if this behavior continues, we can't. And I was like, come on now, Mark, put her in her place now. And I felt like he did it in a respectful way, because some men think putting you in your place is that yelling or calling you names. He just was firm with it. It was like, listen, if you continue like this, we can't do this. I mean, I just feel like sometimes and then she keeps going at Katrina. Is it Katina? Katina. And I'm just like, why do you keep bothering? She rolling her eyes. Why? Who cares?
Yeah. Although they have the last, like this, in this episode, when they did the group date, they were cordial. And the last time they got their nails done, they were cordial.
They were, yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No.
Right. So let's move on to somebody else who needs a good come to Jesus moment, and this Katina and Elijah Wan. He working my nerves. Like, I really want to like him, but he just keeps on trying it. Like this domesticated woman from the 50s that he wants to be married to. Like, he needs to go find him a 70 or 80-year-old. Like,
yeah. Dr. Viviana let him have it.
And she did. She did. I agree. She hit it on the head. And then you notice that when he started changing his song, said, well, I was just saying that, but I was feeling scared. I think he was sincere when he said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
I would agree, but I also feel like he still meant what he said. Like, he can say that it was fear because Dr. Viviana got him in his place, but you ain't brought them words out several times if it ain't holding no truth to what you really think that she should be doing. And he's adamant in the fact that he feels like she's lazy. Like he said that a few times now. And then he's like, well, I don't know what you expect me to do. I'm like, sir, y'all both got jobs. Like, what is it that you don't understand about? Like, if she won't doing it before, like it's gonna take some time to get to a point where she can do it now. I think that he was being a little vulnerable, but I also feel like that some of the things he was saying was the truth too. Like that.
I agree, and I hate the fact that he said, and she works from home, because I work from home, and I think people have the ideal that you're just chilling. You do have chill days, but don't get it wrong. You're working. Just because you're working from home doesn't mean that you're not working. Just because someone had to commute into an office, and so when he said that, I'm like, come on now. So I didn't like that. I do think he wants her to cook and clean more. I wouldn't say. And I agree with the fact that when he was like, I went to the kitchen and cleaned and you just went to bed. Now, one night, everybody probably has done it in their marriage. Like, oh, handle the kitchen. But every night, that can get tiring. And you do want to have a partner in the situation. You do want somebody to cook for you, clean for you. You know, the same way it makes you feel good when somebody is serving you and cooking for you and cleaning for you. Sometimes you want that done in return. So I can see that. So I do think that he was honest and sincere when he said that is something that he wants. But I also think that he was honest and sincere when he was saying he was scared. And I got upset when she was crying because she hadn't cried all season, and it seemed like she was really hurt. And I feel like she meant what she said when she said, I want to be married to you, not married, because a lot of people say married on this show. Yeah. I really want to be married. But when she said, I really want to be married to you, that made a difference, because some people on this show just really want to be married. But
did you see that smirk that Olajuwon had on his face when Katina started crying initially?
Yeah, it was a slick something there. Almost
like he was
I got you
saying
something. Like, or no, I think it was more like I broke her a little bit, because I think he wanted some emotion from her.
Well, like Olajuwon was human when Dr. Vivian was putting him in his place. Human. Right.
Yeah, exactly. But see, that's my thing though. I don't like that this kind of working my nerves about him is that he wanted to call it vulnerability this episode, but he wants to break her. Like he wants her to I don't know, I can't think of the right word, but he wants her to feel like he has some power over her. At least that's what it seems like. And I don't think that's cool, especially when she has shared with him that she's had with dating and men treating her incorrectly. And if he's wanting to be her forever husband, then he needs to be more sensitive to her needs. Like barking at people, giving them orders or whatever is not everybody's, like, that's not their love language. I mean, nobody wants to be barked at, yelled at or whatever. And he's done that several times, and he's done this testing thing several times on this show too. And I think that was a part of a test, and her crying was just like, like, you know, I don't know.
I didn't take it as I took it as a got it. That's the response I wanted from you type thing. And it was a smirk. I did pick that up. It wasn't like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God. And my eyes were, I'm like, oh my God, she's crying. So, but his demeanor was definitely not like a normal, like the therapist's response was. Yeah, she was just like very compassionate about it. And she spoke up for her in that moment, you know, to give her words to express herself. And she did check him. And I like that too. In a nice way, but she checked him. Nice, firm way.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to make it.
I guess, what is it that you got? Okay, so looking from the outside in, from your perspective, how do you think that she needs to be more vulnerable in this situation for him? Because he's asked for her to be more vulnerable. What else do you think that she could do to kind of, you know, show her vulnerability as the season progresses?
I think his love language is acts of service. Mm-hmm. So maybe she could start cleaning up behind herself and making dinner, but ain't nobody about to be making dinner every day for you.
Exactly.
So
And like Jay said, working from home is no joke. Let me tell you something. I ain't worked harder ever in my life than March of 2020 to May of 2020, when I had to try to chase seniors to graduation from the house when I could never see them. Like, do you know how much work it takes to get a 17-year-old in your corner when you can't?
Can't see them, parents ain't there, everybody going through. I mean, yeah, it's like I said, it's a lot. And then don't even think about having the kids at the house. Now that I got my kid at this, I'm like, OMG. So that's 2 jobs in one: the daycare operator, and working, and you got to cook, clean. That
Yeah. And then there's no end time too. Like if you have a job that can keep going, like it keeps going. Like it doesn't stop unless you have a firm stop or whatever. But that is true. I would agree with you, KD. I think that his love language is acts of service. But I mean, he's gonna have to be a little flexible on these acts. Can she do some other acts that makes you happy?
Yeah, but I did like the little theater thing that they did.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
And
yeah,
I
that's
like
movie night.
I do like his response to that. He said over and over, he was like, oh my God, like when somebody goes and make an effort to do something, that other person's response is really important because you're literally doing it for that person. And I think his response was appropriate when he was like, oh my God, he was like, I'm like speechless. You listen to me. And then I like that she reaffirmed it. She said, of course I listen to you. Like to let her know I'm listening, I'm hearing, I'm invested. And it was something that he liked. She had everything set up, and then I like the fact that she was like, I know you don't like candy because, he's a gym head. And that was something to let him know again. She's showing him like, I listen to you. I am here and I'm invested. So I thought that was a good thing. And I definitely liked his response to all the effort that she had put in.
Yeah. And then let's look that basket. When that basket came, wow, wow. Like I was like, ain't no way that they made it through that night without some more touching and
as they should.
Right. No, those
both of them seem to, like intimacy. They were open about it. I think that they don't have issues in that category at all. So I think the best set it off.
He said on the after show that they had a different connection after that night. Look, we can take those words for whatever we wanted to. Anywho, anything else about these 2 lovebirds?
No, I think she's managing him well. I think what he's given her and his tone and energy, she's managing it well. A lot of times as African American, especially females, you see us popping off and losing, our handle. And it is very hard to stay calm and mature. And even during the conversations when he's harsh, I haven't seen her raise her voice, or she's still very calm and together and collect. And then even how she's handling like verbally and being able to express herself and calm him down. That's a skill that most people don't have. And she was able to display that on that show. And I like that.
Yeah, she did handle some tough situations pretty well.
I wish I was like that.
It's baby steps. Got this. What is not being a baby step is this relationship with Michael and Jasmina. As KD said last week, Miss Mean Girl. What in the world
Mean Girl
do we have to say about Meanie this week?
Okay. Unless they are not showing all the things that Michael is doing wrong, Jasmina is pretty mean. And I'm like, she told she told Lindsay that she was putting forth the effort. I haven't seen any effort in her at all.
No.
And they keep talking in circles. Like the whole argument when Dr. Viviana left, I couldn't get it. I couldn't figure it out.
And enough for her to walk off, and like the producer had to walk her back in. I'm like, girl, you're not listening. And 2, you're not trying. Like that's why you're so frustrated, because you wanted to be your way.
I was super confused because it seemed like they had a moment when the therapist was, when she smiled, and I was like, good, because you in relationships, period, marriage relation, you're gonna get at it with each other. You're gonna have disagreements or whatever. But it was a moment when she said, the therapist said, is she kissable? And he was like, very, and she had that little, and I was like, look, so y'all were able to put it out there. And then the other thing, I said, hold on, she agreed to the journal, but then when the therapist she like she had an issue with the journal, but you didn't want to bring it up doing it. And then he was like, fuck the journal. I'm like, yeah, because he literally was doing it because you said you had an issue about the way he was coming at you or speaking to you in your tone. The therapist recommended the journal. You both agreed, and he was just more like excited to try a different way to please her or to resolve their communication issue. And I mean, most dudes ain't gonna do nothing. So for him to sit there and say, okay, I'll journal. First of all, by the time I'll be so mad. By the time I wrote the third sentence, I'm like, let's talk, because I'm not gonna sit here and write down everything I have to say. That's gonna take days. So I was like, for him to agree to it, then she had a problem with it. You should have said that when the therapist offered that as a suggestion and you did not like it, she should have said then, I don't think I'm willing to do that. But she made it seem like that she was willing to do it. And then when you leave, you have this big tantrum. But then I'm like, but wasn't you smiling? And she's like, oh, you had him. I'm like, yeah, that's a cute moment. But 12 seconds later, you all say, I just gotta take a break. I'm like, sis, you really looking real like. And then when she said, Michael, now you can talk, I said, whoa, like, I was liking her at first, but the last 2-3 episodes is showing a side of her that's like mean, nasty, that nice, nasty, mean girl. And then I started thinking like, are you not attracted to him? Is it one of those things that now you want to pick apart to make it seem like that it's other things like about his personality, his tone that you don't like, but in all actuality, you don't like him. You're not attracted to him. And then when she was saying they're not physical, I was like, see, maybe she just not with him, but so now she's trying to find something else so she don't look so vain on television.
I told y'all this girl was Alyssa with a little bit more effort. Like I all along. She is Alyssa with a little bit more effort, and she is trying her best not to look bad on TV. But she
about the doggy stuff. I'm like, girl, he was like, if your dog or her dog is important to me, then that dog. I'm like, and then she was like, he bought all my dog gifts. I was like, you missed the whole point. He did the picnic. He tried to sit here, talk to you, and then that turned into a negative. And then when his interview started, he said, well, today was supposed to be a positive day.
Exactly.
He's trying, and I'm actually seeing him in a different light. But I do see that he's pulling back. He's not been as articulate as before. And I think the therapist hit it on the head when she said, you didn't appreciate the accusations from previously when she said that he was aggressive, and being an African-American male. I think he didn't want to be seen as aggressive. So now he's pulling all the way back. And he has sisters too. So I can imagine I'm not aggressive. My sister, and then she said his family. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I don't describe him as that. They all said he was kind. So
yeah. My thing is she with that whole situation, it's like she's above any of the things that they're trying to get them to do on this episode, like, or in this
because she thinks she's perfect.
Yes,
he needs to work on this.
Yeah, because she was like, I can communicate, like I don't have a problem with just saying things out. You can do that though. Like I was like, girl, like,
and she said, I mean, that's common basic skills or something like that. And I'm like, girl, but
yeah. And then what she said when Lindsay was saying that that Mark is always saying that he feels like he wasted 3 weeks, and she was like, no, that's she told Mark not to say that because it's 3 weeks of her learning him. Yeah. And she Jasmine replied to, I ain't learned shit about him in a month.
And then let me say this. Okay. It really, really bothered me. And this has happened to me personally too, like in previous relationships. She set up that little gym, right? And he sat there and share a very, very intimate, or trauma, whatever you want to call it, situation, right? And she didn't share anything back. I didn't like that because you had this guy crying, spilling his guts out, going to a place that he probably did not want to on camera, knowing it's going to be like he aired. I'm not going to say dirty laundry because that's not what that is. That's not a good description of that. But he was vulnerable and let her into a place that he probably doesn't let a lot of people in, revisiting things that you don't want to revisit, to show that he's putting forth an effort. And then I would have said, thank you for sharing. And then I would say, I would like to share something. I feel like she should have shared something, but she said nothing. And she was just sitting there. I don't know. I didn't like how she set that up. And then I feel like she didn't properly support him all the way through it. But at the end, when he said he felt good to cry, I took it back and was like, okay, well, he got something from it, but I didn't like the setup.
Well, that's because she's the ice queen. She's not vulnerable in any way, shape, or form. Because, I mean, even with that situation, I felt like that would have been a perfect time for her to explain, like, how it's been with living with her, her bonus mom and her getting remarried and not being around her family. Like, that could have been some of that time that she spent to share some of that, but she's not verbal and she's not vulnerable. And because of her, he doesn't know what to do. It's like, it's more than code switching, like, at this point, because it's like, well, I'll switch up to make you feel comfortable today, but then tomorrow that doesn't work. And so, because if I say something, then you're, flying off the handle, talking about how I'm not doing something or whatever, or my tone or whatever she says or whatever. So she's put him in a position where he doesn't feel as if, looking from the outside in, that he doesn't feel like he can be himself with her. And she really is working on belittling him. I don't know.
She treats him as if the child, she teaches early education. That's how she treats him in certain instances. And I don't like her. Like I said, it's just that. And then when he told the story about the pen, I saw him trying to get through. Like, I felt like he was getting upset because he was saying, why are you laughing? And she just kept on laughing, kept laughing. And then he tried to shrug it off and started another question. But I think that bothered him, that moment, that again, when he was trying to be vulnerable, she didn't, accept it, but she's asking him over and over to be vulnerable. And then he gives you 2 instances where he's vulnerable. He was very compassionate about her story of being embarrassed. And he was like, oh my God, so what happened? And she's like, I needed a minute, blah, blah, blah. But he could have bust out laughing with that, but he didn't, because it was a sensitive moment. But I hope that she's not this way, but it's seeming to be that way in the last 3 episodes, that she's not what she appeared to be. I really thought that she was going to be a good match. And it could, and things could change, but I don't like her mannerisms and how she's talking to him right now.
Not the mannerisms. We bring that back up, did we?
Because she's so stone, like she has no emotion. If you look at it, everything is just super guarded, flat. She's just, she'll smile from time to time, but if you look at it and put it like in categories, most of the time you're not. You're just like sitting there, and then it's like she's nitpicking him, like,
exactly. Well, she did at some point in this episode say that she was holding back. So I was like, well, dang, at least you're honest about that.
Yeah, maybe we'll see change in her behavior. Maybe
that. But hold on, wait. Did y'all look? Y'all can't forget when they were on the girls' day, when they were rating the relationship. And so he rated the relationship at a 7. And she was like, I can't give it any rating. Like, girl, really? You can't give it any rating?
That's what I really, like I said, at first I liked her. I was like, oh my God, I like her. But now I'm like, no, she's not my favorite character. Not right now. Hopefully, like I said, it'll change. Maybe she needs to get, have her a little orgasm and then it'll calm her down. But I don't know. Right now, I'm just not feeling her. Nope.
Well, she's not going to let that man get close enough to give her no orgasm. But I would like to see that statement was taken out of context from the previews last week when when she was like, well, you ain't even get me wet or whatever. Like, I'm glad that it was more before that and she wasn't talking about like an actual interaction that they had.
Yeah.
But anywho, anything else about them?
No, I don't know. I'm still on the fence about them making it. They might make it.
What were you
No.
about to say, KD?
I was about to say ice hockey was hilarious. I laughed out loud.
No, those boys, whenever they're together, they have a good time.
Yeah.
They understand the assignment. They're there to have a good time, and they always have a good time because it was the same thing last week. What were they doing last week? Hockey?
The archery game.
Oh, yeah. That's what it was. I was like, I don't know what it was. I know they was doing something, but they was
Because
time in.
who chose ice hockey? Because none of them seemed
No,
like they knew
none of
what
them
they
knew
were
how to
doing.
skate.
But nothing wrong with trying new things, though.
Yeah.
And you know
Oh,
what? Talking about that, Mark done tried all that new food for Lindsay. I just want to throw that out there.
He
And I
did.
think it's cool. It's just another thing of how he's really trying. But anyway, but
That,
I like
I mean,
that.
that and the fact that I cannot believe that some of these foods he hadn't tried. Like, you've never had taco and you're in your 30s?
I pick tacos up on a weekly basis, honey. I want a taco right now.
We have Taco Tuesday many a nights in this house.
Absolutely.
They are the
Tuesday,
fastest
Wednesday,
thing
Thursday,
I
Friday. It's quick,
Look.
good, and it stretches.
Exactly. I'm glad I'm preparing my children for the world. They won't be so sheltered. Anywho, all right. Look, what's coming up next week that y'all saw? Or I think they didn't do a specific next week, but they talked about in
Right.
the future. Was there anything that stood out to you guys?
I didn't finish that part.
It's all good. One thing that I noticed was Noise said something about them being set up for failure. So I don't know what that was all about, but again,
And then I saw
It's
something
finances.
with Katina and Elijah, and she was
Yeah.
like, take these microphones off me.
well, that's when he grabbed that phone from her too. It's like, what's this on the phone? And I'm like, I don't know what that could be because that is definitely middle school behavior.
Well, she was holding it and looking at it, and he was pointing to it like, what's this on your phone?
Yeah. So I don't know.
So I don't know if it was episode 10 or 9, but one of the episodes when it was 9, the one before, he said, I don't know if I have to break a chair to get through to her or something. I was like, that's a little aggressive. You know, some people maybe I have to do something extreme. He said, I don't know if I have to break a chair to get there. I'm like, why would you even say something like that? So that was concerning from, I think that was episode 9 when he said that with the boys, and they were like, oh, he's just very frustrated. I was like, no, you could
that's
be
a red flag.
Right? Yeah, definitely red flag way up in the air that when he said that. So I'm hoping nothing like that is happening. But you know, he was such a playboy and all that.
But it was on her phone. It wasn't on his phone.
Yeah.
Her phone.
Yeah, but he might be jealous because he know the stuff he did.
I mean,
But she's married now. So
exactly.
Yeah, but
So
you
it
also
shouldn't be nothing on her
about
phone.
we talked about it with one of the other seasons, and they just met each other, so it could be somebody calling her from back in the day that she was messing with prior to this being random. I mean, these dudes are real random. I mean, I'm like, I talked to you in 1997, and why are you calling me? Why are you inboxing me? You know what I'm saying? And it's weird. So it could be something like that, knowing,
But if it is something like that, then he took it way extreme without information.
Yeah, but I could see him doing that because he seems to have a strange personality. So I could see him doing that. Then the other thing, it could be edits. It could be something, different. So I don't know. But yeah, I definitely want to see.
Well, when she said Mike's off, cameras out, it got to be exactly what we thinking it is, something bad.
Yeah, but I hope she don't flip out. I just said how she's managing things so well.
No, she said, I didn't turn enough cheeks.
Yeah, but you know what? I would not be surprised if she did, though, because she has been managing so well. So sometimes you pop that lid. So hopefully she doesn't, and she maintains that, level headed.
It looked like they were about to have a conversation off camera. And so he went into the room with her.
Yeah. I don't Oh, look, only time will tell. I think next week they should be. You think are they at the halfway point? Is that going to be that episode where they're at the half?
That was episode 10. How many episodes is it? Like usually,
I don't know. You know, with Married at First Sight, it could be 10, it could be 100. Like you never know.
I feel like it's like usually like 14 or 15, and
No,
then
it's more than that.
Yeah.
It's usually at least 20.
Really? I mean, I thought it was more like 14, 15, and then they have a reunion that's split up twice. Like, into two, not twice, but split up into two.
Now they have the reunion, and they have the reflection, and then they have the repass. Like they have so
But see, that's why I'm saying it could be probably 14, 15 true episodes, then the 2 reunions, and then like the reflections and all that, and then get you about 20 episodes. So
it's about 20,000 episodes.
But we are getting close, basically, though. We are.
Yeah, I think that we are at a point where they're gonna be what you call it. But we don't know. But we'll be back here next week to talk about it, whatever happens. Until then, make sure that you hit like on this episode because we know you like what you heard. Make sure that you're subscribed so you never miss an episode, and then share us. Like we need to be around.
Comment too. Drop us some comments.
Yeah, that too. All right. Until next time, we'll see you guys when we talk about Married at First Sight as the season continues. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for watching.